George Wall Ford in Red Bank, New Jersey is family owned and operated, proudly serving New Jersey residents with superior customer service since 1960. Rye, share your story about your experience there.
Mike, I went on a tangent in one of our episodes previously about it, but I can't say enough good things about George Wall Ford. I needed a new car. I had an old. I loved the brand that I had. I loved, it was an SUV, but had 165,000 miles on it. It was just time, So I hopped on over to George Wall Ford. I saw our guy Jerry, and Jerry and his team were awesome. I mean, from stem to stern, they're there, they're helping, they're knowledgeable. They have so many cars on the lot that you can go in and say, hey, I want a sunroof, a navigation. I want this kind of rims on it. I want this kind of this, that, and the other thing. There's a great chance that they have that car with all your specs, the color, all that thing. Me, I didn't particularly care. I was like, hey, I want to be high up in the car, right? I need an SUV. I'm a big guy. I got a dog. I got golf clubs. I got beach chairs in the summer. I need something that's a little more rugged, a little more. Again, I like to be higher in my car. And I went and saw Jerry. He pointed me in the right direction. And again, it's awesome to have that kind of help and support from your salesman to the finance guy to even they got somebody who helps you set up your car, right? I got an app on my phone now that's got my auto start on it. I can locate my car if I don't know where it is. I could take a trip to Japan if I wanted to and be like, did I lock my car? And I can go into the app and lock my car. So even people helping you set up that stuff, just the hands-on approach over there is incredible. So if you need a car, head on over to George Wall. And go ask for Jerry. They were awesome there. Again, stem to stern from everybody. I can't say enough good things about it. It was an unbelievable experience.
So to Ryan's point, there isn't a better place to shop for a brand new car. Just call 732-704-1932 and ask for Jeremy Wall. George Wall Ford in Red Bank for all your car buying needs. All right, so today's guest, again, when you're talking golfing in the Garden State, who better to have on than the executive director of the New Jersey PGA section? Today's guest is Chris Bauer. Chris, thanks so much for coming on today's show.
Yeah, you bet. Great to spend time with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know you guys are coming off your first major of the season and, finally connecting with you after connecting with so many of your guys that are underneath you that play in all these events, that play in all these tournaments. I guess it was inevitable that I finally climbed the ladder and got to you. But before I get into all the majors and all your events and kind of like what you guys do, why don't you give the audience a little bit of a background about you, how you got to where you are, how you got into the game a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
Well, awesome, yeah. My high school did not have a golf team. I played recreational golf growing up as a kid. I did play on the Pioneer Tour up in Bergen County. Went to Rutgers University. I was a sport management major, not a PGM student, but enjoyed the game of golf. One of the projects I had to do for school was to find an internship doing something I might like to be doing one day, and I found an internship at the New Jersey PGA in 2001 and started as a full-time employee in 2002. It was remarkable. I grew up playing county golf my whole life. State county golf course now called Preakness Valley. The first golf course I saw as an intern was the Ridgewood Country Club for the 2001 Senior PGA Championship. So I'm walking across a fairway that's probably nicer than any putting green I have ever putted on. Unbelievable experience, and he'll be doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible when you come across a place like that that's like that special or that unique? I remember doing that at Pinehurst. The first time I went to Pinehurst, I was in the middle of the fairway on hole one, and I looked over to the buddy I was playing with, and I go, I don't want to hit this ball because I'm going to ruin this grass, and I don't want to do that.
Chris, when it comes to like what you guys do, obviously we've had other, other people within, the New Jersey section on, a lot of your pros have been on. We've even been fortunate to have Chris Hunt on in terms of like kind of like one of your pillars of what you guys do. Tell us a little bit about your events. Like when it comes to putting a schedule like yours together, how hard is that and how long of a process is that in terms of an undertaking of getting the dates and getting the courses all to guess intertwine?
Yeah, so I would say putting the section calendar together is probably the most complex part of what we do. We're running about 90 to 100 different golf events. So whether they're section events for professionals, whether they're junior tour events for kids ages 11 through 18, we administer a summer local U.S. Kids Tour. We administer all of the local, sub-regional, and this year we're fortunate enough to host the regional drive, chip, and putt qualifiers. So, accessing golf courses has become incrementally harder ever since COVID. Obviously, golf is busier than ever before, which is great. It's great for all of us. But to get a golf course to give up the golf course for the day or for a couple hours is a little harder now than ever before. I still lean on our PGA members and the golf professionals that, as you mentioned, you've been fortunate enough to have on. They're extremely great to have as ambassadors for the game of golf and go to bat for us at their facilities, which is extremely, extremely appreciated. You start, our first event is typically first week of April. We'll run through the end of October, creeping into early November, and then the off season is when you're really trying to get the following year's calendar set.
Yeah, I mean, because when I look at that schedule, I was like, holy hell, these guys got something going on almost what it seems like every week, and I forgot and didn't even include the junior golf.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That goes into that schedule, because I look at the schedule all the time just out of curiosity, and I'm like, wow, they get to go there, all these amazing spots. But when it comes to getting to all these tournaments, what's your staff like then?
I mean, we've grown, you mentioned having Chris on, so he and I have been working together since I was an intern in 2001. We were a full-time staff of 3 people in 2002, probably through 2010, 2011. I mean, we've grown to a staff of, I would say, 7 right now, which is, great to see the growth that we've been able to have. I attribute that to our membership has grown. This is the first time that we've seen more kids go into PGA universities to become golf professionals, which is great. The New Jersey section has over 500 PGA professionals, so whether they're Class A members or associates, they're very active. The one thing that I have probably better than most of my peers, so the PGA of America is broken up into 41 sections throughout the country. The New Jersey section really covers central and northern New Jersey, so we have a pretty small geographic area, but we're extremely densely populated with the number of golf courses and the number of PGA professionals. So it makes travel very easy. It's not a barrier to plan an event, to attend a meeting, to volunteer for a program. If you look at some of my counterparts, the Aloha section covers Hawaii. So if their professionals want to plan an event, sometimes they have to take an airplane to go from one island to the next, or their staff, if they need to get supplies from their office to a golf course, well, if it's on a different island, they have to ship supplies. So again, those are challenges that we are so lucky that we don't have to deal with. It makes participation great. Every Monday, we run an event for our assistant golf professionals. We sprinkle in a number of other open short play events that any PGA member classification is eligible to participate in. And then you get into some of the larger events like the charity clam bake we just had at Hollywood. So, they run the gamut from small 18-hole events to big 3 and 4 day championships and anything in between.
It's such an interesting point. I never thought that it's such a small and densely populated area for us, North and Central Jersey. But you look at a state like Montana or Wyoming, you go west where the states are so massive, where you mentioned Hawaii, having those kind of issues is definitely not something that, you're dealing, yours is more traffic than it is anything else.
Yeah. Trust me, we hear that from our golf professionals, whether it's down shore, they don't want to go north over the Driscoll Bridge or, yes.
So, Chris, when you're, I think one question the audience may want to get educated on is when they hear you talk about different classifications when it comes to the pro, there's there's an assistant, there's basically a head pro, maybe even a director of golf per se. Can you educate people when you say, okay, like when you say that, like, all right, I'm able to put these together?
A little bit, yeah. So you're like testing me on the PGA of America's Constitution. It goes into the.
You didn't know there was going to be an exam today, did you?
Oh, it's a pop quiz.
No.
It's a pop quiz.
So there's PGA members, which are Class A golf professionals that have completed either going to a PGM university or they've done the PGA PGM, which is Professional Golf Management Program post school. So if you didn't go to a PGM university but you wanted to become a golf professional, there's 3 levels of bookwork and testing, and then that is all following taking a playing ability test or PAT. So you have your Class A PGA members, and then you have your PGA associates who are enrolled in the program but haven't completed those 3 years. Beyond that, there are 25 classifications. So an A1 is a head golf professional at a PGA recognized golf course. An A4 is a director of golf. An A13 is a general manager. An A6 is a teaching professional. An A14 is a director of instruction. Those are your most common classifications. Again, there's so many different ways that you can be a golf professional, and I would say some of those other career paths are some of the ones we're seeing grow more now than ever before. So you have more indoor golf facilities throughout New Jersey. A lot of those PGA members are classified as teaching professionals or directors of instruction. A golf coach, so both the men's and women's coaches at Rutgers are PGA members and associates. And a lot of times you just think, if I'm a golf professional, I have to work at a golf course. That is where a majority of them do spend their time, but there are other avenues. We have golf professionals that work at retail facilities. I mentioned the indoor facilities. Signs by the Sea is a local company here in New Jersey. I mean, they're active with the PGA of America in the merchandise shops at the Ryder Cup and PGA Championship. And that's a PGA member that started that company, and he's associated with Signs by the Sea now. So,
yeah. That's interesting because I'll be honest with you. I kind of knew or heard of that, but like in terms of having that many classifications, again, listen.
You just don't think of like the simulator ones or like some of the other, like the coach at Rutgers. Like you just like there's some that like sneak under the radar. Is there, and all those people have passed like the book test and the practicing test?
Correct. Yep.
Is there anyone who like, what if there's somebody who wants to get involved in professional golf, but they're not the best golfer? Is there a way for them to do their book work, but maybe they can't pass the test? What happens to those people?
Or vice versa, Chris. Let's say I'm a good player and I'm a terrible student. Let's say I can play, but forget about taking a test. Like, are there alternatives?
In short, no. The PAT is not typically a target score for a PAT. So it's a 36-hole event. The target score might be 154, 156. So it's not like you have to go out and shoot even par for 2 rounds. So, if you can go out and shoot 76, 78, 78, 78, that would likely be good enough to pass the PAT. We just need to make sure that someone that wants to become a golf professional can play, at an above average level. The book work, again, there's 3 levels. Every PGA member has to go through them. There's no compromise.
No alternate. Yeah. Honestly, I asked the question, Mike, and you brought up a good side to it, but I didn't think that you would. I would think the book work would be the bare minimum. Like you have to know how to do all this stuff, know the rules, know that sort of thing. But maybe you're not the best player and you just love golf. So I didn't know if there was that avenue.
Yeah, no. Again, there's that's standard. We need to make sure that any PGA member is at least meeting the standard. Obviously, you have some players that are, extremely competitive and play at the highest level. And then you have others that, again, they can pass the PAT, but playing might not be their first priority when it comes to being a golf professional. They may be passionate about merchandising. They may be passionate about running some pretty cool events. I'm sure you both have played a number of golf courses. I know Mike recently played in the 4-ball, but you think about all the different events, whether it's for the New Jersey PGA or the New Jersey State Golf Association or the Metropolitan Golf Association. you rely heavily on the staff members of those local golf courses. And there's PGA professionals from a golf operation standpoint that we work with, and we quite frankly rely pretty heavily on. You're also relying on the golf course superintendents and their staffs to prepare the golf courses and give you the conditions that you're looking for. All of the general managers and clubhouse managers that you have to work with from a food and beverage standpoint to make sure that we're delivering the experience that we expect for our PGA professionals, or in some cases the amateurs that are competing.
Yeah, no, I mean, and then, obviously with all the events that you guys run, obviously it is, I mean, it's crazy and I guess overwhelming to some aspects, but like for someone in your position, are you at all these events, or like, I know Greg kind of is like the director of operations and whatnot. Is he the one that's there? Like, or are you frankly at all these events?
No, there are countless times that we have 3 and 4 events in a day. So it's a divide and conquer approach. I'm still very passionate about our tournament program, but I don't get to every event. We're currently looking for a new director of tournaments and championships. Our last employee recently took a job with the United States Golf Association, so it's great to see them advance their careers. So we have somebody running all of our section professional tournaments. We have somebody running all of our junior events. So Christina Paulson is our director of junior golf and player development. Greg, as you mentioned, was in that role prior. He's now the director of operations, really on our foundation side. So he tries to get to as many foundation programming events as possible. They recently did an event at the Somerset Patriots game. It was their Veteran Appreciation Day. We had Charlie Wilcox as our PGA Hope ambassador, who threw out the first pitch. And again, it's just bringing more awareness about all the different programs that they do. But for the most part, it is definitely a divide and conquer approach. You'll have some larger events that are really all hands on deck, where every staff member is at the Charity Clam Bake or our section professional championship this September. Even on the foundation side, if there's a large foundation event, they conduct the Golf Classic, which is their largest fundraiser at Baltusrol every August. I think this year it's August 19th. But, those are events that we all try to support.
Yeah, man. And then obviously within your calendar on the professional side, is it similar to others where there is 4 majors, or are there less, or are there more? Like, I always get kind of confused in terms of like reading and I guess thoroughly understanding the schedule. Like, I kind of know the big ones, okay? But like in terms of the actual title of being a major, can you clarify that for me?
Yeah. So I would say we conduct 4 major events that carry Rolex Player of the Year points for our PGA professionals. So that would be our Match Play Championship, which was at Arcola Country Club earlier this year. That was won by Brent Palladino, who actually works at the USGA. Our Charity Clam Bake, which we just held at Hollywood Golf Club, is our second major. That was won by Grant Sturgeon from Arcola. Our third major is our section PGA Professional Championship. Most golf professionals would tell you that's the most important event for them. So every one of those 41 sections runs a local section PGA Professional Championship. We'll then qualify. We may have 10 or 11 professionals qualify for the PGA Professional National Championship. That's held every April. And then from that event, the top 20 PGA members qualify for the PGA Championship. So again, our PGA professionals know that's their chance of competing in a major event that you see on TV with the best of the best. The last time we had a local PGA professional compete was 2019, when the championship was at Bethpage. Tyler Hall from Upper Montclair competed. Alex Veach and Brian Mackey had both qualified the previous year while working here in New Jersey, but were working in the metropolitan section at the time. So hopefully, didn't happen this year. I'm optimistic that we'll see a PGA professional from New Jersey get across the finish line and compete in 2025. And then our last major is called our fall finale.
And that one is at Spring Lake, I think, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. If I was getting quizzed today, Rye, I don't know if I would have got all 4 right. I don't. But I did, I think I would have gotten 3 of them. I knew the fall finale. I knew the sectional championship because, I think when we had Brian Gaffney on way back when. He talked about the PPC a lot, about how he was gearing up, getting ready to go out there for that, last fall. So I kind of knew that. And I think when you look at that one specifically, that sectional championship, I think that's got to be like the Super Bowl of Super Bowls, because I think what the opportunities are after that kind of really showcase what guys at their level can do. I think when you're competing against guys like that, that must get their juices flowing big time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they're fortunate enough to qualify for that national championship, you're talking about a field that has 300 plus players. So that's the best playing PGA professionals from each of those 41 sections. The cut is so difficult to make when you have a starting field that is that big. And again, it's not easy, but it does get their juices flowing, as you said, and they like competing against the best. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So it's that event.
And then even just the possibility of playing in a PGA tournament, like professional tournament, a major is that the prospect of that is huge as well.
Yeah. And we did have 3 guys. Did we have 3 guys that made the cut this year, or was?
We had 3 make the cut at the PGA Professional.
At the PPC, right.
Yeah, that was at the new PGA Frisco down in Frisco, Texas.
Yeah, and to some aspect, I know they may not look at it like, it's a big deal, but like, I still think making the cut in that event is, speaks volumes to what we have here in New Jersey. And I know Ryan and I talk about this all the time. Like, I'll take it to my grave and fight anybody and argue with anyone who says golfing in the Garden State is not like the cream of the crop, because I think for guys that live here, you get to experience what this weather truly is like, and it's not ideal all the time. And when you grind it out here for as long as we do, for guys to simply make the PPC, first of all, go out there, and then they make the cut, I think that speaks to the type of players that we do have here. And to your point earlier, it is inevitable before someone cracks that top 20 that gets inside the PGA Championship, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely push one another. I would say, our membership is pretty competitive in nature, and, they enjoy competing against one another. I think we've all been to some of the great venues that we have here in New Jersey, so we also get the chance to test our PGA professionals at some of the best places in the world. So it's not, they're not playing a par 72, 6,400 yard golf course and then going to a national event where they're playing 7,000 plus yards. Again, we have enough facilities here that open their doors and allow us to challenge them so that they are ready for that. You have a guy like Frank Esposito, who's a teaching professional at Mountain Ridge Country Club. He was one of those 3 players that made the cut. He's competing at the Senior PGA Championship, and again, doesn't matter how old he gets, he's going to be as competitive as ever.
Yeah.
That dude's name, no matter what leaderboard that he's playing in, he seems to always be on there. And to your point, I always wonder, I'm like, does this guy age? Is everything all right here? Or do we need to drug test him? Because Frank's name is on every leaderboard of yours.
He's won a lot.
It's crazy, And this year's, I think, the section championship is at Echo Lake, and obviously that's late September. So, we have some time here, but tell us a little bit about Echo Lake, because I can say, Ryan, I don't know if you've been there. I've never been to Echo Lake. What's that place like?
It's a wonderful golf course. They've gone through some renovations. I'm blanking on the architect right now, but again, this is where we're looking for a golf course that has length. We're looking for a golf course that is of high quality and in great condition, and Echo Lake checks every single one of those boxes. We had our fall finale there last year, so players did get a little sneak peek. They know what they'll be in for. Ray Ferrari is the head golf professional we'll work with leading up to the event to prepare. We'll run a Pro-Am on Monday, and then the professional championship will run Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, we're going to have 150 plus professionals competing for one of those 11 coveted spots to qualify for next year's national championship. They recently redid the clubhouse, so the F&B staff has always been great. The back patio overlooks the 18th hole, so it's going to be a great venue for professionals to come up 18 and watch the event unfold.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm looking at some pictures here online. I'm ready to tee it up right now, Rye. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah, it's a good spot. I've never been there either, but I heard good things, and I did know. I don't know who did the renovation, but I know that they went through a couple years ago. They redid a whole bunch of stuff there, put a ton of work into it. So
Yeah.
Chris, what about your game? You know, like obviously within your role, are you able to compete and get your juices flowing? Like, what's your game like? Because I can't lie, I got a few texts that says, quite frankly, he's a really good player in his own right. He just doesn't play a lot. Like, what about someone like you? What about your competitive drive? Like, are you able to compete in these, or is this like a conflict of interest? How does that go about?
So I'm not a PGA member myself. I'm still an amateur. I do get dots next to my name when I'm playing in an event, but so I would say when I was at Rutgers, I worked at the golf course. That was probably when I was playing my best, just because I had access. I have 2 young children now. My goal is simply to play once a month. We do have an unbelievable office space here at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. So we're in the academy building. We have our staff in the offices on one side. And then we have hitting bays on the other side that are used by the PGA professionals that work here at the club. And then there's a hitting bay that's dedicated to the New Jersey PGA and New Jersey Golf Foundation. So, it's nice to be able to step up off your desk, go to the golf ball for 15 minutes, and then get back. I like to think that I can not embarrass myself when I go out and play. I'll always try to break 80, but I'm not as hard on myself as I used to be. I just go out and have a good time, and I happen to make a par or a birdie, great.
I think he's underselling us here a little bit, because my texts don't say anything of what he say. I got him right here in front of me as I keep looking down, and it's not anything like maybe make a par.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not talking 15 handicap, Ron.
He's looking to break 80, and he breaks 80 every time. So that's like me. I'm looking to break 100 every time. Oh, check, got it.
Lower your expectations and have more fun.
There you go.
Hey, listen, that works.
Chris, there's a ton of spots there that you mentioned. Do you have a favorite that you like hosting at, as far as like not necessarily like going and playing, but like as far as like having an event? Is there a spot that you find to be, or even a couple spots? And I know you don't want to play favorites or anything like that, but is there one that you're like, when we go there every time, it's an unbelievable experience?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of them. Only because it's fresh on the top of my mind. We just finished our clan bake at Hollywood. We've been down there for 4 of the last 5 years for that event. But the great part is when you are able to visit the same club, you work with the same staff, you develop that trust. It's not going in there for one event in 1 year and you don't know what you're walking into. So being able to work with Kevin White, the head golf professional, Leo Bokil, the general manager, Michael Broom, the superintendent. Again, you develop those relationships, and when you have that high level of trust, it alleviates one level of stress walking into an event. Obviously, Mother Nature was very kind to us, which is the other stressful part about running golf events or any outdoor sport. There's so many others. You mentioned Echo Lake; it's another great one. I never knew half of these golf courses existed, before working for the New Jersey PGA. So, I mean, I can go on and name 30 or 40 other top tier clubs that we're fortunate enough to visit on a regular basis, and I'm just appreciative for the opportunity for every single one of them.
Yeah, and when you had said Central and North Jersey is basically like your area, is that because the Philly section dominates most of South Jersey, or is there a reason that, like, I guess the southern part of the state doesn't, or maybe I misunderstood it, like just doesn't intermingle with you guys?
No, I mean those are the territory lines that the PGA of America drew.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Oh, okay.
Early 1900s, so we don't really have control over that. But yes,
wow.
There's the Atlantic City, Yahweh National, Pine Valley. Those are all part of the Philadelphia section of the PGA of America. But again,
wow.
So
honest to God, didn't know that. I kind of assumed that since it was New Jersey, it was all the same boundary line. So the Philly section sneaks into basically Atlantic County and kind of goes that far east. So does that mean like you can't even hold events down there either because that's outside your section?
Yeah, I mean, There are some.
Not that you don't have a ton in the sections you're in.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but
You can run travel events. So we do an event down at Galway every spring to kick off the season. But for the most part, yes, you are restricted to conducting events within your boundary, and then it works the same with the golf professionals. So you can only have New Jersey section professionals that work at clubs in your section compete in your events. So they don't want professionals from other sections saying, we know New Jersey runs this great charity clam bake and we're going to go play. It's.
that's interesting. I didn't know that. I kind of wondered why.
Where is that boundary line? Like, how far? What's the furthest club south that you have?
Or furthest north, I guess.
So
like how far? Like to where are you? What's the line?
All of North Jersey is us. So that goes up into the New York border or into the eastern Pennsylvania border. So all of New Jersey. It's hard to say an exact line, Ryan. I would say if you took a line from Tom's River on the east to Trenton in the west, everything is section.
So like Tom's River Country Club is in your section?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting to think about like where that would fall.
Yeah, again. I thought the same way Mike did when I started. I'm thinking New Jersey section. It's the whole.
It's just New Jersey. Yeah.
That's crazy. So like a guy like Jason Lamp, who's had a phenomenal career, plays in the Philly section now that he's down at Galloway.
Correct. He was a New Jersey section member for a long time when he was we're going down there.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And that's funny because I just saw it was on Instagram and it was like a guy saying like which area of the country has the best golf. And his was like sneakily, I think Philly does. And he said Pine Valley, Union League were his first two, and then went to Marion and Philly Cricket and went there. And I was like, those first two are in New Jersey. They're not a Philly section. So this is kind of given a little bit of credibility to that.
Let's not give that guy any credibility because I commented real quickly on that and said, whoa, buddy. You're dipping into the wrong territory.
Right. And, but to his point, like they're part of the Philly section. So that's interesting that like all those years ago they would draw it like that.
Yeah, again, I have no idea why, but that's what we're working with. And I go back to it really being a positive that it's less territory that our staff have to travel. It's less territory that our PGA professionals have to cover, smaller distance. And I think it really adds to why, whether it's our Monday assisted events are so popular, whether it's our Thursday Pro-Am. So every Thursday from the end of April through early October, we conduct a Pro-Am where one golf professional brings 3 customers, clients, members from their club. When we get into June, we'll visit Trump Bedminster on June 13th. We're at the Ridge at Backbrook. We're at North Jersey. We're fortunate enough to visit some of the best golf courses in New Jersey, and it gives our professionals a wonderful opportunity to travel with their members and just have a fun day. It's not about the professional competition. It's really about the camaraderie and relationships that they get to build with their members.
Yeah. I mean, listen, the schedule, when you look at those courses is a dream, but, I guess, I think, Chris, when you obviously you've been able to be a part of this, New Jersey golfing scene for quite some time. And I think one of the questions I always like to ask guys like you that have been in and around and had the opportunity to play so many spots, do you have a favorite? If there's a spot that someone says, hey, Chris, I got an invite here, you got to come, drop what you're doing. Are you going? What is your go-to spot? And listen, I'm not letting you count Pine Valley, even though it's in New Jersey, regardless of what that guy on Instagram says, and it's not in our section. But like, do you have a favorite spot that you like to play?
I'll go back to Passaic County where I learned the game. Again, it's now called Preakness Valley, but it definitely holds a special place in my heart. It's where I worked growing up as a kid, pulling golf carts. It's where I learned to play. Beyond that, it's a difficult question for sure. Mountain Ridge is one of those clubs that you probably hear a little bit more about now, but it's another one that flew under the radar for a long time. Hamilton Farm is different, but it's a wonderful experience. Jump in a car, have a good time. Generous fairways, which I like off the tee.
Yeah, listen, it's funny you say Mountain Ridge. I think the running joke between Ryan and I and any guest that pops on is when I ask that question, Mountain Ridge is like always seems to be the answer. And we're like, we don't know what the hell it is about Mountain Ridge because neither one of us have been there. But every person in your seat somehow, some way always says Mountain Ridge.
Yeah. Again, I go back to it's not just any one aspect of the club. It's everything. It's, Len Sider, head golf professional. Cliff, the superintendent, does an unbelievable job and takes great pride in goes on the golf course. James, the general manager, you're always going to feel welcome there. The staff and the hospitality that they provide. But I would say the same thing about, again, 40 or 50 other places in Jersey.
Chris, we're a New Jersey golf podcast, and we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the greatest debate in New Jersey, and that's the name of a particular kind of breakfast meat.
Taylor ham.
Now, again, knowing where Fiddler's Elbow is, and you being from North Jersey, I had the feeling, and it was just, this was going so good, Chris, and then you just had to ruin it, and it's disappointing.
You would think by now we would just like kind of set them up. You have like choice A of pork roll and choice B is pork roll, and you don't even get to say whatever the other thing is, and that's just the answer.
I know you had Chris Hunt on, but they did a custom head cover from Swag, and it was exactly themed what you're talking about, pork roll or Taylor ham, and it's always Taylor ham. It always will be for me growing up.
It's funny because they sent us one.
Yeah,
we have that exact one that you're talking about, and I'm like, this is straight comical.
Speaking of head covers, you got quite a collection behind you there.
Yeah, it's nice. I finally get them on display. Pre-children, I had them in the basement, but that space was quickly taken up. And Mike Checks Times by the Sea made the head cover rack for me. I've always been a fan of Scotty Cameron and some of the creative head covers he comes up with. Some are definitely more nostalgic than others. The commemorative head cover from the 2016 PGA Championship at Baltusrol is one that I'll always keep. And I love the creativity.
Yeah. No, I honestly, I was distracted several times during this, trying to squint in and see what's going on. Does one of them have New Jersey on it? One over your on the right hand side. Is that the New Jersey?
We did a custom head cover years ago for some of our larger partners and gifted them a putter with a commemorative Scotty Cameron New Jersey PGA head cover for the holidays. So that's what that one is.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid, Mike. We gotta get in the head cover game.
Not as many putts with that thing on it.
Between that, the other cool thing I like in my office, you don't see it from this angle. So I know I mentioned the professional championship, and I have championship flags signed by any New Jersey section member that's competed. So that's why when I said 2019, if that page was the last time, I look at the flags all the time. And like I said, I'm ready to put another flag up. So PGA members out there, if you're listening, make sure that you work on your game, and I'm confident to see you advance in 25.
Let's do it. But listen, I can't thank you enough for hopping on today's show, really on such short notice and right after, the clam bacon. And I know that a lot of your guys are our guys and intertwined. But if there's ever anything that we can do to work alongside you guys with, to help promote, to do whatever, frankly, I know Ryan and I talk about our mission really is just to promote all things golfing in the Garden State. So never hesitate to reach out and see if there's anything that we can do on our end to help.
Absolutely.
We can go live broadcast from the final round of our professional championship at Echo Lake this year or something. We'll definitely continue that conversation.
That sounds good.
Works for us, pal. Works for us.
Chris, again, like Mike said, appreciate the short notice and squeezing us in. This was awesome.
It's good seeing you, Ryan. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the holidays and appreciate it. Take care, Mike.
See you, pal.